The war-torn skies above Earth glowed crimson as alien warships loomed ominously. It was a grim reminder of humanity's precarious existence, with the Zarzal horde threatening to annihilate everything. In the heart of the United Earth Defense Command (UEDC) headquarters, a classified operation was underway. General Rourke, a grizzled veteran, scanned the profiles of humanity's last hope, a team of 4 men whose collective skill and daring might tip the scales. "Send in Captain Adrian Kane," Rourke barked, his voice carrying the weight of years spent in battle. Adrian Kane stepped into the room, his boots clicking against the steel floor. His broad shoulders and stern demeanor exuded authority, but his eyes betrayed the ghosts of countless battles. Kane had led men through the grueling campaigns of Titan and Europa, earning a reputation for tactical brilliance and unwavering resolve. Yet, he bore the scars of loss. His entire family had perished in an earlier Zarzal raid. For him, this mission wasn't just duty, it was retribution. "Kane," Rourke said, sliding a data tablet across the table, "you're in charge of Operation Eclipse. We've identified a critical Zarzal hub on their mothership. Disable it, and we may stand a chance." Kane glanced at the dossier. "Who's my team?" Rourke's lips curled into a thin smile. "The best we've got." First to arrive was Ethan Voss, a wiry man with sharp features and perpetually smudged hands from tinkering with tech. At 28, Ethan was already a legend among engineers, having reverse-engineered Zarzal technology to develop humanity's first countermeasures. Though his brilliance was unquestionable, his cocky attitude often grated on others. "I hear you're leading this circus," Ethan quipped as he entered the briefing room. "Hope you've got a good plan, Captain." Kane's gaze was unwavering. "Just don't blow us up, Voss." Next came Dax Reed, a man whose swagger preceded him. With tousled hair and a perpetual smirk, Dax had made a name for himself as the best pilot in the fleet. He lived for the thrill of danger, often bending the rules to their breaking point. As he sauntered in, he tossed a flight helmet onto the table. "So, who's ready to kick some alien tail?" Dax said with a grin. Ethan rolled his eyes. "Your ego's going to get us all killed. And your tech might save us," Dax retorted, leaning casually against a chair. Finally, Victor Hale arrived, the room's atmosphere shifting instantly. Towering and muscular, Victor exuded a quiet intensity that made even seasoned soldiers uneasy. A weapons specialist with an encyclopedic knowledge of combat tactics, Victor was a man of few words. He carried the weight of a tragic mission where he had been the sole survivor, a burden he rarely spoke about. "You're late," Kane said, his tone neutral. "Traffic," Victor replied curtly, taking a seat without further explanation. The team assembled. Kane activated a holographic display showing the Zarzal mothership. The intricate design shimmered in the air, a testament to alien ingenuity. "Our target," Kane began, pointing to a glowing core at the center of the ship, "is the hive mind control hub. Destroy it, and we sever their ability to coordinate attacks." Ethan whistled. "No pressure, right?" "The ship's defenses will be impenetrable," Victor said, his voice a low rumble. "That's why we're not flying in through the front door," Kane replied. "We're hijacking a Zarzal patrol craft to infiltrate their perimeter. From there, we'll disable security systems and proceed to the hub." "What's the backup plan?" Dax asked, his tone half serious. "There isn't one," Kane said, his gaze locking onto each man in turn. "This is do or die." A tense silence filled the room, the weight of the mission settling over them. Yet, beneath the tension was an unspoken understanding. These men, for all their flaws and differences, were humanity's best shot. Later, as they prepared for departure, the team began to show cracks in their professional facades. Ethan worked tirelessly to modify the equipment, muttering curses under his breath. Dax hovered nearby, offering unhelpful suggestions that only served to irritate the engineer. Do you ever shut up? Ethan snapped, holding a plasma cutter dangerously close to Dax. Not when I'm having fun, Dax replied, grinning. Meanwhile, Victor silently inspected his arsenal, his movements precise and methodical. Kane approached, watching the older man with measured respect. Everything in order? Kane asked. Victor nodded. It will be. The answer was cryptic but sufficient. Kane knew better than to push. Victor's results spoke louder than words. As the team gathered at the hangar, the stolen Zarzal craft loomed before them, its sleek, alien design both awe-inspiring and menacing. Dax whistled. Not exactly first class, but I've flown worse, he said, patting the ship's hull. Just don't crash it, Ethan muttered. Gentlemen, Kane said, cutting through their banter. This is it. Once we're on that ship, there's no turning back. The team exchanged glances, a mix of determination and apprehension in their expressions. Despite their differences, they were united by a singular purpose: to fight for humanity's survival. As the craft's engines roared to life, the hangar doors opened, revealing the vast expanse of space. Kane took one last look at his team, his voice steady but firm. Let's show the Zarzal what it means to be human. The ship lifted off, its glowing thrusters cutting through the darkness. Behind them, Earth hung like a fragile jewel in the void, a stark reminder of what was at stake. Each man knew the odds were against them, yet none wavered. They were humanity's fearless champions, and their fight had only just begun. The stolen Zarzal patrol craft cut silently through the vast emptiness of space, its stealth systems active to avoid detection. Inside the cramped cabin, the team sat in tense silence, each man focused on the task ahead. The alien technology surrounding them hummed softly, a reminder of the enemy they were up against. Captain Adrian Kane broke the quiet, his voice steady. We're entering the perimeter of the Zarzal mothership. Stay sharp. Ethan Voss, hunched over the ship's control console, muttered to himself as he deciphered the alien script on the displays. This tech is a nightmare. Half of these symbols don't even have a logical structure. You can figure it out, Kane said, his tone encouraging but firm. We're counting on you. Ethan glanced over his shoulder, his sharp features shadowed by the dim cabin lights. No pressure, right? In the cockpit, Dax Reed adjusted the ship's trajectory, his hands moving with practiced precision. This is almost too easy, he said with a cocky grin. If I didn't know better, I'd say the Zarzal want us to waltz in. Don't jinx it, Victor Hale said from his seat near the weapon locker. His voice was low, his expression unreadable. Victor was cleaning a compact plasma rifle, his movements methodical. They'll notice us soon enough. As if on cue, the ship's console flashed red. Ethan's fingers flew over the controls. Proximity alert. We've got a patrol drone closing in. Dax, evasive maneuvers, Kane ordered, his voice cutting through the rising tension. Dax grinned. Now we're talking. The ship banked sharply as Dax maneuvered through a debris field, the patrol drone in pursuit. Ethan worked frantically to scramble their signal. Sparks flew from the console as alien systems clashed with human ingenuity. Come on, Ethan muttered. Just a little more. The drone's energy beam grazed the ship, sending a shudder through the cabin. Victor steadied himself, his eyes narrowing. We won't survive another hit. I'm working on it. Ethan snapped, his voice strained. With a final keystroke, the console emitted a burst of static. The drone veered off, its sensor scrambled. We're clear, Ethan said, exhaling sharply. Nice work, Kane said. He turned to Dax. How close are we? Docking bays in sight, Dax replied, his tone uncharacteristically serious. But they'll spot us if we're not quick. Kane nodded. Let's move. The team disembarked swiftly, their boots echoing against the cold metal floor of the Zarzal mothership. The air was thick and metallic, the lighting dim and alien. Ethan scanned the surroundings with a handheld device, its screen displaying a map of the ship's labyrinthine corridors. This place is massive, Ethan murmured. The hive mind hub is 3 levels down, but we'll have to bypass security checkpoints to get there. Lead the way, Kane said, his voice calm but commanding. They moved in formation, Victor taking point with his plasma rifle raised. The corridors were eerily silent, their design a mix of organic and mechanical elements. Strange, pulsating lights lined the walls, casting unsettling shadows. As they approached the first checkpoint, Ethan crouched near a control panel, his fingers working deftly to override the security system. "Give me 2 minutes," he said. "You've got one," Kane replied, scanning the corridor for signs of movement. The seconds ticked by, the team's nerves on edge. Just as Ethan finished, the sound of chittering echoed through the corridor. "Contacts," Victor said, his voice a harsh whisper. A group of Zarzal soldiers emerged, their insectoid forms shimmering with bioarmor. The team sprang into action. Victor fired the first shot, his plasma rifle's energy bolt striking true and dropping one of the aliens. Dax, wielding dual blasters, provided cover fire while Kane coordinated their movements. "Ethan, get that door open," Kane shouted. "Almost there," Ethan yelled back, frantically typing. Dax's blasters whined as he unleashed a barrage of shots. "They just keep coming." Victor moved with precision, his stoic demeanor unshaken. "Aim for the joints," he said, taking down another alien. Finally, the door slid open. "Go, go, go!" Ethan shouted. The team dashed through, sealing the door behind them. They paused to catch their breath. The faint sound of Zarzal soldiers pounding on the other side. "That was too close," Dax said, his usual bravado tempered by the encounter. "Stay focused," Kane said. "We're not done yet." Deeper into the ship, the atmosphere grew oppressive. The walls seemed to pulse, as if the ship itself were alive. The team reached a large chamber filled with conduits connected to the hive mind core. "This is it," Ethan said, his voice tinged with awe and fear. "Plant the disruptor," Kane ordered. Ethan unpacked the device, his hands trembling slightly. "Once I activate this, they'll know we're here. Then we'll hold them off," Kane said, his gaze sweeping over the team. Victor, Dax, take defensive positions. As Ethan worked, the chamber filled with a low, resonant hum. The lights flickered and an alarm blared. "They know," Victor said, raising his rifle. Zarzal soldiers poured into the chamber. The battle was fierce, the team outnumbered but holding their ground. Dax's quick reflexes and Victor's precision kept the aliens at bay, while Kane directed their efforts with unwavering focus. Ethan shouted over the chaos. "Almost done. Just keep them off me." A Zarzal soldier broke through the line, lunging at Ethan. Kane intercepted it, his combat knife flashing as he drove the blade into the alien's neck. "Focus, Voss," Kane barked. The disruptor emitted a high-pitched whine as it powered up. "Done," Ethan yelled. "Fall back," Kane ordered. The team retreated, the disruptor's energy waves spreading through the conduits. The Zarzal soldiers convulsed and collapsed as their hive-mind connection was severed. In the relative silence that followed, the team regrouped in a maintenance corridor. "It worked," Ethan said, his voice shaky but triumphant. "For now," Kane replied. "But we're not out of this yet." As they moved toward their extraction point, the ship seemed to come alive with activity. The Zarzal were regrouping, their queen likely aware of the intrusion. Kane looked at his team, their faces lit with determination despite the odds. This is just a beginning. Stay ready. The team pressed on, their resolve unbroken, knowing the final battle awaited. The hive mind control hub loomed ahead, a pulsating, organic structure brimming with alien energy. It was unlike anything the team had seen before, alive, yet mechanical, with tendrils of glowing energy snaking into the surrounding walls. The Zarzal Queen herself resided within, her consciousness spreading across the ship like a web, directing her forces with chilling precision. "This is it," Captain Adrian Kane said, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "Once we take out the Queen, the Zarzal forces lose their coordination." Dax Reed, gripping his blasters, let out a shaky laugh. "You make it sound so simple, Cap." Ethan Voss adjusted the disruptor device strapped to his back. "The Queen's core is protected by layers of shielding. I'll need a few minutes to disable it." "Then you'll get those minutes," Victor Hale said, loading a fresh power cell into his plasma rifle. His movements were deliberate, his expression unreadable. Kane surveyed his team. They were battered, their armor scorched and their energy reserves dwindling, but their eyes burned with determination. "No matter what happens, we finish this," he said. As they stepped into the chamber, the Queen's presence became overwhelming. The air was heavy, vibrating with a low, resonant hum that seemed to press against their minds. The Queen herself emerged from the shadows, a towering, insectoid figure with translucent wings and multifaceted eyes that glowed with intelligence and malice. "You dare defile my sanctuary," her voice echoed, not through the air, but directly in their minds. It was cold, alien, and filled with contempt. "We dare," Kane replied, raising his weapon. "Humanity isn't yours to take." The Queen let out a piercing shriek, and the chamber erupted into chaos. Zarzal soldiers flooded in from every entrance, their bio-armor gleaming in the pulsating light. "Hold the line!" Kane shouted. The battle was brutal. Victor unleashed precise bursts from his rifle, each shot finding its mark. Dax moved like a whirlwind, dodging and firing with unerring accuracy, his blasters tearing through the alien ranks. Ethan stayed behind them, frantically working to deploy the disruptor device. "This shielding is insane," Ethan yelled, sweat pouring down his face as he manipulated the alien controls. "I need more time." "You've got it," Kane shouted back, slamming the butt of his rifle into a Zarzal soldier before delivering a killing blow with his combat knife. The Queen watched from her elevated perch, her movements deliberate as she directed her forces with cold efficiency. Her glowing eyes fixed on Ethan, and a swarm of smaller drones broke off, diving toward him. "They're targeting Voss," Victor barked, stepping into their path. His plasma rifle roared, cutting through the drones, but their sheer numbers were overwhelming. "I can't hold them all," Victor growled as a drone's claw raked across his armor. Kane leapt to Victor's side, his knife flashing as he tore into the swarm. "You're not alone, Hale. Keep fighting." Behind them, Dax sprinted across the chamber, drawing fire away from the others. "Over here, you ugly bugs," he taunted, unloading a flurry of shots. Ethan let out a triumphant shout. "Shielding down! Deploying the disruptor now." The device powered up, emitting a deep hum as it began to synchronize with the Queen's hive mind core. The Queen let out a screech of fury, her translucent wings flaring. "Fools," her voice boomed. "You will not survive this day." With a flick of her clawed hand, the chamber shook violently. Massive tendrils of energy lashed out, forcing the team to scatter. One struck Dax, throwing him against a wall with a sickening thud. "Dax!" Ethan cried, rushing toward him. "Stay back!" Dax groaned, coughing up blood. "Finish the jobs!" Kane's jaw tightened as he grabbed Ethan by the arm. "He's right. We don't have time." Ethan hesitated, his eyes filled with anguish, But he returned to the disruptor, his fingers moving faster than ever. Victor, bloody but unrelenting, charged toward the queen. "You want to fight? Come get it," he roared, firing relentlessly. The queen turned her attention to Victor, swiping at him with a massive claw. He dodged, rolling to the side and launching a grenade that exploded against her bioarmor. The disruptor emitted a high-pitched whine, its energy building to critical levels. Almost there, Ethan shouted. The queen let out a final, ear-splitting shriek and lunged toward the disruptor. Kane stepped into her path, firing his rifle point-blank. The shot slowed her, but not enough. Realizing the inevitability, Victor made his decision. "Get clear," he bellowed. Before anyone could react, Victor charged the queen, tackling her away from the disruptor. The impact threw them both into a mass of energy conduits, which exploded in a brilliant flash of light. "Victor!" Kane shouted, his voice raw. The disruptor activated, its energy waves spreading through the chamber. The queen's body convulsed, her scream echoing as her hive-mind connection disintegrated. Around the ship, Zarzal soldiers collapsed, their coordination severed. The chamber fell silent, save for the hum of the disruptor winding down. Ethan collapsed to his knees, staring at the spot where Victor had fallen. He saved us." Kane placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, his face grim but resolute. "He saved humanity." They carried a gravely injured Dax back to the stolen craft, their steps heavy with exhaustion and grief. As the ship's engines roared to life, Kane took one last look at the dying Zarzal mothership. "He did what he had to," Kane said quietly. "Now it's up to us to honor his sacrifice." As the ship sped away, Earth came into view, a fragile jewel amidst the stars. Despite their losses, they had won. Humanity had faced the unthinkable and emerged victorious, proving once again that even in the darkest of times, the fearless could save the day.